All right, thanks for tuning in one more time here. We're going to go ahead and get started. Our first state on the northernmost part of the East Coast here, we could say it's the Maine state because it's above all the other ones. This is Maine. Another way to remember that is to say, hey, who knows the name of this state? You can say, well, me, I do. Maine. Next state over here, we're going to take a look at a border strategy. This has a V in the border if you use your imagination just a little bit. This is the state of Vermont, VT, and its neighbor to the east. I'm going to use another state border strategy, trace an N on this part. This is one of the many new states. This is the state of New Hampshire. A lot of new states over here in the East Coast. That's because all the old versions, like Hampshire, is over in England. I'm going to move down to the south here, use another little mnemonic here. If you kind of imagine that this state is sneezing out into the Atlantic Ocean, no, it's kind of gross, but say this is the big sneeze state. Big would be massive. Sneeze sounds like an achoo, so we've got Massachusetts right here, and that's M-A. Kind of silly, but hopefully it'll help you remember a little bit. And then to the south of Massachusetts, we have a little tiny state right here. It's small like an island. This is actually the state of Rhode Island. It's not really an island, but it's small enough to be one if it was surrounded by water. Going to move to the west of Rhode Island. It's actually connected to it. Looks kind of like a rectangular brick, and bricks are connected together. It's an easy way to remember that this is the state of Connecticut. And if we move to the west of Connecticut, a student named Braxton actually came up with this strategy. He kind of envisioned a big, blocky, chunky capital Y that was smashed a little bit. And that helps us to remember that this is another new state that has a Y in it. It's the state of New York. If you use your imagination, to the south of New York, this state kind of resembles a smashed, stubby little pencil here. I'm going to use some of my artistic ability, or maybe lack thereof, to help you visualize this one. Color this in. It looks like the end of a pencil here. There's the eraser. And we'll get into another state here with some of the lead. That's the state of Pennsylvania. Maybe that's a stretch, but hopefully it helps you remember. Have another state strategy here for the border. This state has a J in it. It's another new state, and this is the state of New Jersey. And directly south of New Jersey, use another border strategy. It kind of looks like a smashed D right here. This is the state of Delaware, DE. And to the west of Delaware, it looks like this state is kind of jagged and has a tear in it right in through this area. If it's torn, maybe it needs some stitches. If it needs stitches, you're going to need a medical doctor to help you identify this state and stitch it up. This is the state of Maryland. Alright, the next two states both have Virginia in them. They're both a type of Virginia, and this is, we could call this regular Virginia, and to the west of almost the entire state of Virginia, it's to the west and to the north a bit, is West Virginia. So even though this section of Virginia is a little bit further west than West Virginia, most of the state of West Virginia is to the west of Virginia. Alright, we've got a couple of directional states over here. One is to the north and one is to the south. We also have a border strategy we can use. If we just trace part of this border of the southern one, helps us to remember that they are North Carolina and South Carolina. Finally, all the way down here to the south on the eastern coast and the Gulf Coast of the United States, they grow a lot of flowers down here. Almost said the state. And the state of Florida, they both start with an FL, so flowers grow in Florida. And Florida has this state on its mind. Very famous song. It has Georgia on its mind. That's GA. Coming up next, we've got Braxton, who's going to help us or actually show off all the things that he's learned from these state strategies. And stay tuned. Thanks for watching. All right, we're going to talk about the strategies we just learned. What is this state up here?
Maine.
Maine. How do you remember that?
Because it's the top of the coast.
And it's like the
Main state.
main state. Another way to remember that is, who knows this state?
Me.
Me. Good. That's the abbreviation for it. All right. How do you know this state right here?
Because it's the V.
Got a V in the border. What state is that?
It's Vermont.
Good. VT. Vermont. How do you know this state right here?
Because there's an N in the border. It's New Hampshire.
Good. N in the border. It's New Hampshire. Good. What's this state over here? It's another new state.
New York.
Good. New York. Okay. How do you remember that?
Because it looks like there's a big Y.
Kind of looks like a smashed big Y right there, and that was your strategy that I never knew before. What's this state right here? Kind of goes out into the Atlantic Ocean.
Massachusetts.
How do you remember that one?
Because it looks like it's sneezing.
Yeah, it's a chew. So it's a big sneeze state, I like to say. There's all the snot and all the stuff coming out of it. What's this tiny little one?
Rhode Island.
Good, Rhode Island. How do you know it's Rhode Island?
Because it's connected to Connecticut.
Okay, it's connected to Connecticut. How else
And
can you
it's the
remember it?
smallest state, and it looks like an island.
Okay, it's small like an island. And this one looks like a brick. You just said that was Connecticut. And bricks are all what?
Connected.
They're all connected together. How do you know this state right here?
It's New Jersey because there's a J on the border.
There's a J right here as part of its border, so there's New Jersey. Good. What's this one that looks like a smashed D?
Delaware.
Good. That's a D. E for Delaware. What's this one right here?
Pennsylvania.
How do you remember it's Pennsylvania?
Because it looks like a pencil.
Okay. Kind of looks like a pencil, like a smashed pencil. We're going to color it all orange. Throw the eraser on the side here. Throw some pencil lead up in there. Kind of looks like a pencil. So there's Pennsylvania. What is this state that's called kind of all raggedy and torn up?
Maryland.
Maryland. And that's MD. It looks like it needs a doctor. And medical doctor is MD. What are these two states here?
Virginia.
And
Virginia and West Virginia.
good. West Virginia is a little bit, it's not farther west, but most of the state of West Virginia is farther west than Virginia. What are these two states right here? Remember their direction?
Carolina.
Good, they're the Carolinas. How do you know that they're the Carolinas?
Because there's a C in the border.
Good. Which one's north?
The top one.
So North Carolina, South Carolina. What's this one? They grow a lot of flowers down here.
Florida.
And Florida starts with FL. What does it have on its mind?
Georgia.
It's like the famous song, Georgia. Got 'em all. Good job.